Hey, Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ blessed. This is 15 Minutes with the Captain. I'm Captain Yediah, and today's topic is dealing with the police and law enforcement. Dealing with the police and law enforcement. It's a very serious topic. Y'all know our people are suffering in these last days. We're having a lot of different biases against us, and we are stereotyped, and we always fit the description. So we got to be very, very mindful. We got to move in wisdom in these last days. Let's get Psalms 94 and 20.
The book of Psalms, chapter 94 and verse 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law?
So one thing we must understand in these last days is that these governments that are in place, whether it be the American government or what have you, these governments are the thrones of iniquity, especially in America. The Bible calls it the throne of iniquity, all right, the kingdom of sin. It says, shall it have fellowship with thee? It's a rhetorical question because the answer is obvious. This place was built upon our oppression, slavery, and genocide. So, no, it would never have our best interests at heart. Read on.
Which frameth mischief by law.
It frames mischief using its legislation system, using the executive branch. It frames mischief against God's chosen people, which are the Israelites, you blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. You must understand where you at in prophecy, all right? From there, go to Habakkuk chapter 1. Go to Habakkuk chapter 1, and let's start at verse 4. Come on. The book of Habakkuk, come on.
The book of Habakkuk, chapter 1 and verse 4. Therefore, the law is slack.
It says the what?
The law is slack.
What does it mean the law is slack? It's slack when it's time for you Israelites to get justice. That's when it's slack. It's in its full strength when something happens to the so-called white man. It's in its full strength when something happens to one of the heathen. But when something happens to our people, that's all of a sudden the law is slack. But when we do something, many times the whole book in the kitchen sink get thrown at us. But when it's time for us to get justice, when we are the ones being oppressed and abused and marginalized in society, then the law is slack. Go ahead.
And judgment doth never go forth.
And the proper judgment doth never go forth. That's why when they freed us in 1865 in the Emancipation Proclamation, why did almost 100 years later we needed civil rights? We would need civil right laws if we were actually citizens. The reason why we need civil rights laws is because, and all those amendments that was passed, is because we were not citizens and we would not be treated as such. So you must wake up in society and understand this is not your place of rest. We're in captivity because we broke God's laws. So wake up. From there, go to Luke 3, because with that being said, understand that this does not mean that every single police officer that you come across in your day-to-day is out to get you. That is not the case, because we have our own people who are on the force. Every man you see who is under the blue and the badge is not out to get you. Watch this. Go to Luke 3 and verse 14. Let's go back to the time of Christ. Watch this. Luke 3:14. Come on.
The book of Luke, chapter 3, verse 14. And the soldiers likewise demanded of him, saying, and what shall we do?
The soldiers. This is law enforcement. It says, what shall we do? Go ahead.
And he said unto them, do violence to no man.
So he told them, do violence to no man. Go ahead.
Neither accuse any falsely.
John the Baptist said, and don't accuse nobody falsely. Don't be lying, saying somebody fit the description and you put charges on the wrong man. You got an innocent man in prison. He told them, don't do that. But you have men in this time period who were working under Rome, and America's an extension of Rome. These men wanted to be saved. They came to John and be baptized. So every single person on the force or working with the government is not out to get you. Understand that. Read on.
And be content with your wages.
Be content with your wages. Read.
And as the people were.
Okay, that was all I wanted on that. Now, also with that being said, go to Romans 13, because we have to be the light of this world. We have to apply the laws of the land. We're going to get that in the Bible. You can't go around breaking the laws of the land, no matter what country you dwell in. Romans 13, verse 1. Come on.
The book of Romans, chapter 13, verse 1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher power.
It says, let every soul be subject unto the higher power. Whether you're in America, whether you're in Australia, whether you're in Europe, be subject to the higher powers and obey the laws of that land. Go ahead.
For there is no power but of God.
Because there is no power but of God. Go ahead.
The powers that be.
Whatever powers that be. Whatever authorities that be. Come on.
Are ordained of God.
God set them up. God want to set us up as a people, but we got to wait. We got to wait on the Lord. to be set up. Go ahead.
Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of God.
You see the thing? Whosoever therefore resisteth the power of God, because God put these people in place. Read.
And they that resist
want to go against the government. Go ahead.
Shall receive to themselves damnation.
Come on.
For the rulers are not a terror to good works.
Read.
But to the evil.
It says rulers are not a terror to good works. Many times police are not messing with brothers who are law-abiding citizens or doing no wrong, working their 9 to 5, going home to their wife. Many times police are not messing with brothers like that. It's you men on the corner, pan-sagging, illegal firearms. That many times you bring negative attention to you and you must repent. Go ahead.
For rulers are not a terror to good works,
Read.
but to the evil.
Go ahead.
Wilt thou not then be afraid of the power?
It says, wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Because who's the ultimate power? It's the Lord who put these enemies over us because we broke his laws. So our job is to obey their laws. Why? Because many of their laws is based off of the Bible. The word iniquity, crime, sin, all those words are interchangeable. Iniquity, crime, sin is all the same. Many of their laws you can find in the 10 Commandments and all throughout the scriptures. Okay? Now, from there, go to Daniel. Because the only time we're not going to obey the laws of the land is when they conflict with the laws of God. Okay? That's the only time we're not going to obey the laws of the land. When the laws of the land are to break the laws of God, that's when we will make a stand. That's when we will draw the line. They make a law that says you will eat pork every day at this time or that time. We're not eating pork ever. But if it does not conflict with the laws of God, then obey the laws of the land. It's just that simple. It's nothing complicated. Watch this. Let's get an example in the Bible. Daniel 3 and verse 14. Daniel chapter 3 and verse 14. Come on.
The book of Daniel chapter 3 and verse 14.
Mm-hmm.
Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up?
Go ahead.
Now if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, suckbut, psaltery, or dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but if ye worship not, you shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace.
Read.
And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands?
So during the time of ancient Babylon, today we're in the daughter of Babylon. In the time of ancient Babylon, they had a law that we will commit idolatry. They had a law, and that law wanted to force us to commit idolatry. And let's see what the true black men of the Bible said. Read.
Verse 16. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter.
Read.
If it be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king.
Read.
But if not,
but if he doesn't deliver us, go ahead.
Be it known unto thee, O king.
Know this. Read.
That we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up.
You see that thing? So we will obey the laws of the land until they conflict with the laws of God. But if they don't, then all praises, no problem. Watch this. Go to Matthew 4. Because we cannot be lawbreakers. We cannot be criminals and call ourselves righteous. Get Matthew 5, verse 14.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5, and verse 14. Ye are the light of the world.
It says we are what?
The light of the world.
We are the light of the world, brothers and sisters, not the darkness. Go ahead.
A city that is set on an hill cannot be hid.
Read.
Neither do man light a candle and put it under a bushel.
Don't hide your good works. Go ahead.
But on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house.
Read.
Let your light so shine before men.
It says, let your light so shine before men. Go ahead.
That they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven.
That they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Go to Titus 2 now. Go to Titus 2. I'm going to speed up a little bit. Go to Titus 2 and verse 6.
The book of Titus, chapter 2 and verse 6.
Come on.
Young men, likewise, exhort to be sober-minded.
Not doing drugs, not selling drugs. Because sometimes you bring the wrong attention upon you by breaking the laws of the land. It says, young men exhort to be sober-minded, not doing drugs and not selling drugs, so your brother can be out of his mind. Go ahead.
In all things, showing thyself a pattern of good works.
In all things, showing thyself a pattern of good works. Watch this.
In doctrine, showing uncorruptness, gravity, sincerity.
Read.
Sound speech that cannot be condemned.
That also goes into what? Watch what you say. Watch what comes out of your mouth, whether in person or online. Stay in the Bible. If you speak, speak as the oracles of God. Watch what you say. Sound speech that cannot be condemned. Read.
That he that is of the contrary part may be ashamed.
And when you do those things, he that is of the contrary part, who has an evil eye for you, he will be ashamed because you're blameless. Go ahead.
Having no evil thing to say of you.
Having what?
Having no evil thing to say of you.
You say that thing because you must, again, remember where you're at in prophecy. We are in the hands of our enemies, okay? Go to Leviticus 26. Leviticus 26 and verse 17. Let's get that. Remember where you're at, my brothers and sisters, okay? Remember how you got over here on ships. Remember the colonialism of the conquistadors. Remember the genocide. Remember who is now ruling over us. Leviticus 26, read verse 17.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 26 and verse 17.
Read.
And I will set my face against you.
God said he set his face against us. Go ahead.
And ye shall be slain before your enemy.
Read.
They that hate you shall reign over you.
Those that hate you shall reign over you. They that hate you shall reign over you. So understand that when you stand before a judge, when you stand in a courtroom, it's those that hate you that are proceeding over you. Okay? Go to Zechariah 11. Because there's been many Mike Browns. There's been many Eric Garners, Tamir Rice, Botham Jean, Sandra Bland. This stuff happens all the time. George Floyd. Watch this. Zechariah 11, verse 5. Understand that. Read.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 11 and verse 5. Whose possessors slay them.
It says, whose possessors slay them. Go ahead.
And hold themselves not guilty.
They will hold themselves not guilty. Be very mindful. Don't forget where you're at. Don't be shocked. It says they will kill our people and then hold themselves not guilty. Go ahead.
And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich.
And they'll say, blessed be the Lord, and God bless America. Because they've benefited off of our suffering, okay? From there, go to Matthew 5. Christ taught us how to move. Christ taught us how to operate. Christ taught us de-escalation, all right? Watch this, Matthew 5, read 25.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 25.
Watch this, because the good Lord taught us about how to de-escalate situations. Read.
Agree with thine adversary quickly.
What Christ say?
Agree with thine adversary quickly.
No, say I'm sovereign. I know I'm sovereign.
Agree with thine adversary quickly.
It says you better agree with your adversary quickly. You ain't sovereign, Negro. You come over here on a ship. What is sovereign about that? What's sovereign about that? It says agree with thine adversary quickly. Go ahead.
Whilst thou art in the way with him.
He asks for license, give him license. Insurance, give him insurance. And you should have your license and insurance, brother. Agree with your adversary quickly. Comply. Comply. It may be the difference between life and death. Mark my words. Go ahead.
Whilst thou art in the way with him.
Read.
Lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge.
Lest at any time it escalate and now you arrested, now you got to see a judge. Go ahead.
And the judge deliver thee to the office.
And the judge say, bailiff, take him to the back. He's going to jail. We're going to throw the book at him. Go ahead.
And thou be cast into prison.
And thou be what?
Cast into prison.
Go to Sirach 9. Go to Sirach 9. Be very mindful. Watch your steps. Keep your hands where they can see them. Keep your hands where they can see them. Don't make no sudden movements. It may be the difference between life and death. Sirach 9, read 13.
The book of Sirach, chapter 9 and verse 13.
Read.
Keep thee far from the man that have power to kill.
Don't make no sudden movements. Don't provoke him. Don't make him nervous. Don't make him fear for his life. Don't make him fear for his life. Don't do that. Go ahead.
So shalt thou not doubt the fear of death.
Go ahead.
And if thou come unto him, make no fault.
Don't make no fault. Don't reach. Don't reach. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. Go ahead.
Lest he take away thy life presently.
In a moment of time, in a blink of an eye, you'll be gone. Go ahead.
Remember that thou goest in the midst of snares.
Read.
and that thou walkest upon the battlements of the city.
Don't forget where you at in prophecy. All right? From there, go to 2 Corinthians 10 and verse 3. We almost done. 2 Corinthians 10 and read verse 3. We must understand this. Read.
2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 3.
Read.
For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh.
This is not a physical war. Remember, Galatians 5 and 19 tell you that sedition is a work of the flesh. Sedition is when you want to go against the powers that be. When you want to overthrow the government. That is a work of the flesh. That is not of the Lord. It says do what? Read that again.
For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh.
Read.
For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal.
It said what?
The weapons of our warfare are not carnal.
Our weapons are not carnal, brothers and sisters. So what must we do as Christ told us? We must stay in the spirit. Stay in the spirit and wait ye upon the Lord. All right? That's been 15 minutes with the captains. I pray that was edifying. I'm Captain Yediah. Shalom. Most High in Christ bless.
That's right.